Hello, welcome to our webinar today. We're glad to have you here. My name is Lindy Singer, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Modo. I have Brian Billingsley here with me today to talk to you and walk you through how Modo's technology can help you move to the cloud, move your payments operations to the cloud, reduce your cost of payments acceptance, and most importantly, regain control of your payments operations, which is super important as we'll learn throughout this webinar. Now, enough from me. The real reason we're here is to hear from Brian Billingsley, Modo's Chief Revenue Officer. So I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey everyone, great to be on the webinar with you. Excited for the next half hour or so to give you a little more info on Modo and what we're up to over here. Again, my name is Brian Billingsley. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here. Been here about 2 years, although I've actually known Modo really almost since its inception, and I've been a client twice before actually joining them. So I mean, I really believe in their technology. I was the CEO of North America for 3 years prior to that, where we used Modo. And before that was at Alliance Data Systems, primarily in strategic biz dev in the card services group, and then was at FIS prior to Alliance Data in their enterprise strategy group. So that's me.
And at Modo, yes, we do all wear these shirts every day. It's our uniform. If you want, let us know. We'll get you one sent over. But this is an accident, although we do wear Modo shirts every day. So it does happen quite often that we are wearing the exact same thing.
We make it look good.
So I'm really going to go through the Q&A. So if you guys have questions as we're going through, just pop them in the Q&A at the bottom. And I'll be jumping in with any questions that you guys have throughout. But Brian's going to be handling the slides and taking you through the demo. So Brian, take it away.
Great. Yeah, so let's just jump in and let's talk about how we can help you take control of your payments. Super important, especially in this kind of what we're going through right now. Obviously, we live in a constantly changing economy. Over the last few months, it's been really interesting as we've worked with our clients and prospects through this whole COVID process and what that has meant from a payments perspective, bolstering online payment methods, making sure the redundancies, et cetera, are in place for where volumes are shifting and stuff happens so fast. So obviously it's a changing economy with different, we used to think of it as, what do consumers want and, different demographics, wanting different payment methods, and then you throw in something like COVID, and wow, how it moves even people who really still like to pay with check, and all of a sudden are wanting to go online and pay differently, and it's really been a force function. So while obviously a lot of unfortunate things to this whole COVID situation, it has been interesting to watch how it has shifted how consumers want to pay, and just consumer interaction with the merchants and the corporates that they get their goods and services from every day. So, obviously as the consumers, it's a global economy. Consumers have the ways they want to pay. If you're a global company, you've seen that already. If you're in Northern Europe, you can't offer just card. You need to offer invoice via Klarna or a similar company. If you're doing business in South America, you need to have Boleto. You need to be able to offer installments on cards. That's just a given. And it's as you go up what I call the optimization curve of payments, that's where a lot of complexity happens inside of your own system. And most of you are, either corporates or retailers. You're trying to do your core business, and it's amazing how payments can really become a separate business if you're not careful and become a huge, it can be a strategic advantage, but it's a big driver of cost and focus away from your core business. And really before something like Modo, there hasn't been something there that allows you to really execute on your core business but still hold the levers of making sure that you can manage payments exactly how you want them. We all know that the complexity is growing, new payment methods are popping up, new tokenization strategies. We talk with some very large retailers, insurance companies who, given some of their legacy systems, some of these great companies that are bastions of our economy are 50, 60, 70 years old, and some of their systems are almost that old. So they're trying to keep up with this payments complexity, but not completely break everything on the back end. Again, that's really what Modo wants what Modo wants to help with. And then just dealing with the backups. I'm actually quite surprised how many of the prospects and partners that we talk to that still have pretty significant downtime issues with their primary processors. I know it happens, but you've got to be ready for that. And it's amazing how much just a little bit of downtime can cost. So just starting as simple as how can we add a secondary processor in for backup processing capabilities is a great place to start. And obviously adding the additional payment methods for the areas of focus and for your key and core markets around the world. This is one I won't read all the data to you on this slide, but the big one I wanted to focus on, I really just mentioned it, was how much some of the folks that we're talking to lose when there's downtime from their processors. So, and I think this number is and it's an average. Obviously, it depends on when that outage happens. If it's happening on a holiday event or something, it can be much more than that. But the downtime issues, and that doesn't even count the brand impact or losing customers. For some clients, the way their business model functions, if a payment won't work, not only do they lose that sale, the customer then goes to the competitive offering. So payments can actually be a driver of customers shifting their loyalty and their preferences if the payment doesn't work. So how do you ensure payments flexibility? Well, there's really three ways that we focus on it at Modo. One is helping our partners get to the cloud. A lot of our large retailers and corporates that we're working with are on a journey to take advantage of what the cloud has to offer, both the scalability and the cost reduction. However, that can be a scary thing, especially when you're dealing with really sensitive data. And so as on an overall cloud journey where you're trying to get a lot of stuff to the cloud, Modo makes it much easier to take the payments portion of your business and take that to the cloud. And we've gone through the gauntlet with very large global banks and large retailers and processors who are holding our feet to the fire to making sure we're using the latest, greatest technology and capabilities to keep your data and your customers' data secure, so you don't have to worry about it. Next one's cost. It's a marketplace is a good thing, and what we want to do is make it easy for you to use your volumes, your brand, your prowess in the market to get the best cost, the best pricing, the best SLAs from all of your payments partners. And really, we're doing that so the best processors can come to you and offer you the best rates and the best service. And that's really what drives, a great marketplace interaction. So we want to help you be able to manage and that's both transactional costs as well as your overall cost of acceptance. So every time you add a new payment method or new processor, or you want to go into a new region, not having to add, really large numbers of analysts to fix settlement and reconciliation or all the issues that happen when you start adding new payment methods. So it's really helping drive the overall cost of acceptance. And then so being able to take those resources and deploy, those people to more core areas of your business. And then control. So, I like to say we help our clients have their cake and eat it too, where it's your data, you get to control it, but we take, all the risk and the responsibility of securing your data. So the PII data. So when you use Modo, you get to use our token vault. That's what creates that interoperability, which we'll get to more in a minute. So you kind of get to control it. You get to say what happens to it, but we're going to make sure that it's secure and compliant in our vault. So really, we think of the 3 C's on how we help you increase the flexibility from a payments perspective. Those are our main focus areas. Before today, there was really, you had to there was a fork in the road as a retailer or a large corporate, it was scaling. You had kind of 2 ways to attack the payments landscape. The first was really an in-house build, and that really goes back to, think of the Airbnbs, the Etsy's, great companies that because their business models were unique and they were expanding so rapidly, there wasn't a provider that could meet all of their needs. And so that's why you see these companies have pretty large payments teams inside their business. It's because they had to really build their own Modo inside of their company. There was nothing that could really do what they needed. Or you've seen other companies who, over time, as I talked about earlier, have gone up that optimization curve of payments, and they've had to, you start out with one processor, and then you realize that processor doesn't support PayPal. You add PayPal, and then you're seeing a lot of traffic from Scandinavia. And so you do a little research and you realize you need certain payment methods for that market. You want to go live in Brazil. Well, you probably want to use a local processor to go into Brazil. So yada, 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 you fast forward 20 years and all of a sudden you have 20, 30 integrations into your systems that can cause a massive overhead cost and just focus being taken away from your core business. So that's really on one side where you chose, hey, I'm going to do it myself because I'm going to go through the pain because I want to maintain control. Or you go to a one-stop shop. There are folks like Adyen and others who have built amazing businesses, kind of helping people through one connection get to all the markets. But then in many cases, you're paying a premium for those solutions because they hold, touch, move money. They're going to do the FX for you. And so, for example, if you're a large corporate and you have a great relationship with, a top 5 global treasury bank, and because you get, you do your loans, your lines of credit, you get other treasury services through that bank. In many cases, your payments, your ACH costs, for example, are likely far below market. And so how can you, in that case, take your relationship that you have with one or multiple treasury banks and leverage that for payments? And that's something Modo wants to help you do. Another good example of where a one-stop shop might not be the best fit is if you have your business model involves offering proprietary payment methods, whether it's from a B2B perspective, like a invoice or a tab system, or different. You run your own credit shop. I know some of our clients, they have bank charters in some regions, or they offer, from a B2B perspective, lines of credit, kind of a B2B gift card thing. There's different examples that adding those unique payment methods that are really important for certain merchants. A one-stop shop checkout provider is not going to, take the time to integrate those proprietary payment methods into their checkout. So those are some examples of where that won't work for you. And so what we really want to offer is like I said before, have your cake and eat it too, where you get the flexibility, like you build it all yourself, but you get the benefits of outsourcing kind of the nasty bits of payments to a third party. And it's almost like if the company Twilio, if you know what they built, the gateway for kind of SMS and messaging services, like now today, if anyone was going to build a new service like a messaging an app or something, like everyone would just use Twilio because they build a secure, great tool for that. And that's really Modo's vision, is to be that one-stop shop to allow large retailers and corporates to integrate very quickly multiple payment methods and do it in a flexible way. So it changes everything when you do when we are in that middle, when we give you that flexibility, but we take all of the technical responsibility. We price differently. So it's a flat fee per month. It's a flat SaaS service fee. You're not getting charged ad valorem per transaction, et cetera. We talked about the data. You get to control your data. We take responsibility for making sure it's secure, making sure it's tokenized, and that you can use it to route across multiple processors. But you do what you want with that data as long as it's legally permissible. We don't hold it hostage. We can deploy very, very quickly. So because that's what we do all day, every day, we can move very quickly and turn on new processors or payment methods many times much, much faster than you can sign a contract. From a routing perspective, it's really sky's the limit. It could be as simple as we're just routing for a primary and secondary processor. If there's too many milliseconds lag time for the primary, to routing to debit, routing sending credit one way, debit another way, send like ChaseNet to Chase. There's a bunch of different things that we can do for you. And the beauty is that routing can be set up within hours. And then we don't have a dog in the hunt, so to speak. Like we purposely remain neutral. So Modo is not benefited if transactions go to one processor or another. So we can say that we sit completely on the side of the corporate, and really our job is just to help you execute your strategy. We have a team that can help with some of that decisioning and help you look at that data, like a consultative approach on how to maybe which processors might be the best fit based on your business, but we purposely remain neutral in the marketplace there. We talked about the marketplace economics. We want people competing for your business and bringing their best and brightest to serve you and making it, giving them a reason to do that. So they're competing for you. And we're hosting you in the cloud. We're helping you take all of your, as many of our large corporates are making the broader cloud journey, helping them take their payment stack and infrastructure into the cloud as well. So in a nutshell, we are your bank grade payment stack. We've been through the ringer with some of the largest global banks in the world. We've got a lot of connectors that you can take advantage of, and you can access that through one API. We're going to actually show you that here in a minute. We're going to show you our modal on the front end and our tenant portal that allows you to configure your payment methods and kind of see your data and see the transaction balance in real time. So with that, I'm going to break away and pull up the demo.
And this is live demo, saying that at the beginning.
Boy. So our front end team has just done a great job, and we had some fun several weeks back and made a new demo store. So this demo store has nothing to do with Modo other than it kind of shows, we like humor, we like making fun of ourselves. So this Modo store is full of Easter eggs, and we have a lot of fun kind of poking fun at each other. So if any of you know, you can obviously get one of our Payments Geek t-shirts. We'll add that to the cart. If you know our fearless leader, CEO, he has a very unique fashion style. So he loves to get very nice button-down shirts and have them tailored, so he never buttons them. So we obviously wanted to put the never button-down shirt here so you can look just like Bruce. So fly. So and then the Laura's Wine of the Day Club, that's an inside joke, don't ask. So anyway, so that had nothing to do with Modo, just a little fun. But now we're going to go to checkout. And so here's where the Modo magic starts. I'm going to show you a few things. One, this is a pretty vanilla version of a checkout page. So what you're going to see here, this is the modal right here where it popped up, where we take the card credentials securely in a light box so the merchant never has to touch it. We offer this in a few different ways. It can be a hosted light box. We can actually give you more flexibility and make these individual fields. So which gives you a level more of flexibility in creating your checkout page. You can also use our product headless, so you don't have to use our modal, but obviously that would mean that you as the corporate or the retailer have more PCI scope. So some unique things here, again, in the modal, it's very easy to add additional payment methods. So for some of our corporates that have kind of unique payment events where people might need to pay with a card and a bank account, or a bank account and a line of credit that's sitting at the corporate, there's a few, we can make that very flexible. So you can add, whether it's different bank accounts, multiple cards, etc. And we'll show you that on the back end as well. So it's really, that's a big feature of our checkout, is to being able to offer multiple payment methods based on the needs based on your needs. So I'm going to go ahead and add some data in here. Let's see. And we will close this out. So I'm going to hit complete order. Before I actually hit complete order, I'm going to open what we call the magic drawer, show you a couple things. We obviously have an event log. These are some developer tools, whether they're developer product people or folks that are configuring checkouts for, on your various sites. These are some tools they can use. So here is like our config tool, where it would actually allow you to change the checkouts by domain, by region, by page. So this is one of the places you would do that. And then we're going to come back to the event swim lane here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and complete this order. So we've got our order ID here. And so I'm going to pull the magic drawer back open. I'm going to go to the swim lane. So this is the tool that just shows how we keep everything secure from the modal, what the consumer is actually entering data into, the client side to the server, and then ultimately to the checkout API. So you can see that here the modal was loaded, and I'm going to scroll, sorry to make you guys sick. And then it was handed off. So Modo's done the development to be able to hand this from the modal through the client, the server, and the checkout APIs. So, we kind of built things for the teams at the corporate to make it really easy to integrate. So see, it went from the client, the thing was handed off to our server. And then when you get to the checkout API, you're going to see a few things. So now this is interacting with our backend system, and you're going to see we tokenize everything. So there's an order token that actually they can pass in the line item data if they choose to. Some for like different risk and fraud reasons can bring in the line item data, and then here's the payments token. So everything's tokenized. It's hit our checkout API, and it's kind of going off into the backend system and doing its thing. So now I'm going to switch over to our modal. And show you a few things. So we're gonna, if you're a friend of Modo and you've ever heard us reference the coin, so that's the beating heart of our system, the double entry accounting system that enables you to see all of your transactions balanced to the penny in real time. This is a visualization of that technology. So again, this is in a sandbox. This is test data, so that's why you don't see fees modeled. But what you see here is on the left, you have, as you're looking at the screen, you have your payments. So that will be anything coming in from your cards and your various processors. So if you had multiple payment methods there, you would have card, you'll have bank direct. So this particular example, there's ACH payments and card. If there was the merchant credit piece, the merchant credit piece would show up as well. You have then the settlement in the middle. So you have what's coming in from the cards, what's coming in from the bank direct, and what's actually settled, and the fees associated with that, and then the various orders. So you can see by order the different sizes from largest to smallest, and click into those and actually drill down into the individual orders. So this kind of gives you, 30, 60, 90 days. What are the trends in my business? And then from an operations perspective, you can drill into the actual individual transactions. You can look at the order details. You can look at the coin map for the individual transaction. So you can see if this is like a split tender, what's settled, what hasn't. So you can make risk decisions on, depending on what you're selling, when do you ship a product or when do you turn something on. This is live. We'll see if I can find a split tender. I don't know. Should have looked. Give me 1 second. There it is. So here's an example of a split tender transaction. That's a really small one. That's hilarious. So basically what you see here is you have a payment, a bank direct, $22.62. And then you have a card for 21 cents. So on one hand, it's kind of ridiculous, but it shows that our system does balance everything to the penny. So you have a split tender transaction where it was card and bank, and you see that it's all settled. Let me go back and see if there's one more. Sorry,
Brian, someone just asked about split tender.
Yeah.
Can you explain what loyalty real quick?
Absolutely. So in the split tender, or in the modal where you can offer different payment methods, you absolutely can offer loyalty as well. And you get to control, obviously, the burn rates for those loyalty points, and we can help you convert those loyalty, into the tender to, essentially to a currency. So we can absolutely add loyalty as a payment method our modal supports. We have a slider, different ways where you can show the consumer how much are those points worth from a dollar value perspective. And if they don't have enough, how do they then add a card or a bank account or another payment method to fulfill that transaction? So Lindy, I think that is it. Pretty simple, straightforward, lets you look at your transactions. And really the beauty is when you can see all of your transactions coming in from every processor, every payment method, and being able to service all of those transactions in one place. So it really alleviates the issues on the back end. So your operations folks, aren't storming the gates, wanting your head. and then gives you the ability to turn on new payment methods very, very quickly.
Great. We have another question about payment methods. Can you add a point of sale lending offer to the stack?
For sure, absolutely. So, whether that's a proprietary payment method, whether it's Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay, can definitely add those payment methods as well to this.
Okay, great. We have another question about our flat fee. So that is a flat fee that's added on top of whatever you would pay out to your gateways and your processors. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Sure, that's right. So we don't hold, touch, or move money. We're not getting in the money flow. So if the cost that you would have to your processor would still be there. The thing is, what Modo does is Modo does allow you to, in many cases, go direct. So you can go direct to different acquirers, different payment methods, and not have to pay, many times get rid of gateway fees. So that's good. And then two, we enable you to put more players in competition, use the best out there, use multiple of them, see who's best by region, and be able to drive those costs down as well. So our flat costs are really based on a few things, and our pricing is transparent. It's on our website if you want to check it out, but it's really driven off of how many instances you have. So for example, if you are in North America and then you need to, you're wanting to turn on payments in a market where data privacy rules, you have to keep the data like in market within the borders, like that would be another instance of our platform. So it's really driven on that, and then how kind of the overall throughput. But so it's a flat, predictable cost that your CFO can predict out into the future, and the more you use this, the cheaper the per unit cost gets if you're doing that math.
Great. We have another question that's simply, what is payments orchestration?
That's a good question. So payments orchestration is really giving you the ability to orchestrate or to move things around what's best for your business. So think of that conductor for an orchestra, the person who isn't playing the instrument but is really kind of telling when different instruments or different groups to start and end, and how loud or soft to play their instruments. That really is what orchestration is in a nutshell. And now kind of take that analogy to payments, where when transactions are coming in, the conductor, so to speak, is able to say, I want this transaction, I want debit transactions to go to this processor, unless they're for a certain bank, certain issuer, then send it directly to them. Send credit to this processor. For certain transaction sizes, show these credit options. For certain regions, don't show those credit options because it'll drive down conversion. For websites where it's more soft goods and apparel, use Afterpay, because that solution crushes the fashion and apparel space. It's just an amazing solution, especially for card-centric markets where you never have to sign up for the product for it to work. So you would want to use that for if you're selling couches or mattresses. Afterpay wouldn't be the best solution, and like an Affirm or a Klarna would be a better fit. So, but that gives you the ability to conduct and do what's best for your business. But then obviously when it comes to payments, there's a lot of both technical issues, there's a lot of privacy and compliance issues that come with that orchestration. So what Modo allows you to do is we give you that platform that allows you to orchestrate your payments how you see fit, and have the tools to do that in a secure and redundant and reliable way.
Awesome. And one more question asking about if we're both in-store and online, or just online.
For sure. So Modo's focus primarily for the last few years has been really e-commerce and online, but we've done some great work with some partners, and we'd love to do a demo for you where we can now show you ISO 8583 in our API, so you can actually access card present stuff can be ingested in the exact same way, which really opens up a lot of opportunities for you as if you're a large retailer, a grocery store that has a lot of in-store traffic and online. I think one API that allows you to kind of bring all that data into one place. So we'd love to. That's some pretty geeky bit stuff to show you, the hexadecimal converting to rest. But it's really cool. We'd love to set up some time and show that to you.
Okay, well, that was our last question. Thank you, Brian, for diving in there and showing that unified view
For
of
sure.
how orchestration really works. If you guys have any more questions, please reach out to us. We'd love to talk with you. We'd also just love to know how things are going through Corona for your businesses and talk with you through that. But if you have any questions, modopayments.com. My email is just lindy@modopayments.com. So you can reach out to us directly and we'd love to chat.
Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks guys.
Bye.
Bye.